Hi guys,
Hi,
it's your two
guys.
poly chicks again, Tiffany and Cindy. Hey,
Hey.
and today marks our 1 year anniversary. Forgive me, 'cause I'm gonna be messing up
Anniversary.
words today.
Anniversary.
I had my two wisdom teeth pulled, so I'm just like I'm
Oh
trying to
yeah.
talk and not
Yeah.
mess up words more than I usually mess up words. So today is our 1 year anniversary,
Yes.
October
Yes.
22nd, 1 year of the two poly chicks.
Yes. Tiff, can I
Yes,
explain something before we go further? Because I
yes.
feel like nobody's gonna know what just happened. We're cheesing, you know, because just before you hit record, we gotta like amp ourselves up to get in, go, 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 go. So I feel like I'm always going like this. And it doesn't matter what topic you're talking about. Hi guys, we talking about the murder of, and I'm going.
And we're like smiling, just cheesing. Remember, we were just talking about death estate planning, and we were like, yeah. And I'm
Yeah,
like, that
yeah.
is not, but I mean, we're always, for the most part, we want to present the topics in a nice, you know, fashion, even if it's a dark topic. I mean, we
Yeah,
still are happy that we're delivering that content to you. So
yeah.
those are the reasons for the smiles, aside from amping ourselves up. But but it is our 1 year anniversary, and one of the things we
Yay!
talked about, yes, I want to just say clap, clap, clap. That's like we did like I don't know, like more than 50 episodes. So
Yeah.
it's
Well, there's 52 weeks in a year, so 52.
and I think we have 60 episodes up there. I think it is. I think it's more than
Probably
50.
the intro, and I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, we did a few things. We did like the little the
Challenge. Yeah.
giveaways. We did just a few little snippets of things too, just coming on and acknowledging, doing lives. So we started out saying that we were going to talk about everything from marriage to death, estate planning, like we said, from street lights to how your food gets to your table. And I think for the most part we have achieved those goals. What do you think with
I
our
think so.
topic?
I wrote down some of the things we said, and if you watch the intro video, guys, I think
Yes.
we said census, Bill of Rights, wills, the Electoral College, divorce, voting, how politics is in everything. I was really surprised to hear us say that because I think we covered even more.
Yeah,
I think we
definitely.
did those and more. The only one I don't remember doing, which we probably did, and I don't think we went really far into the Bill of Rights, and I don't think we really went into wills, but we talked about it in terms of estate planning as a whole.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
touched on it, but this is like we had said, we want to just learn and explore and push people to discover and not necessarily be the experts, because obviously we can't be experts in everything. So I like that we at least open up the idea and then give you. A lot of people tell us, oh wow, I never thought about that, I'm going to look further into it. So that's really
I like that. I like the fact that you said discover, because we're opening up the idea, open up the can of possibilities, but it's also on the viewer to go and explore more. Like when we talked about the wills and estates, like now you know that's something that should be done. So let's go ahead and research more and see if that's something we should be doing or you should be doing and how you should go about it. So I like that discovery aspect of it.
Yeah, it's just like how Therese used to always say, put the bug in your ear. We had a friend, guys, she always said, I just want to put the bug in his ear. So it's just like put the bug in your ear, wake you up a little bit,
Yes. So from our first video was talking about getting to know us, who we are, how we are. One of the things I noticed is that we kind of let each other talk during that first video. It was only 8 minutes long, so it wasn't a long video, but we gave each other time to talk. We were like, listening. Now that's all out the window. We're like just blah 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 all over each other.
Guys, we've known each other long enough that we can do that. So if you watching it, you'd be like, man, she always into it. That's just been our whole life of arguing, discussing this thing, and just respect. Just like, but we just be like getting heated sometimes, like, and then go away. I love you too.
Yeah, but and it's so crazy because when in our first episode we were nervous and everything, but we had that conversational piece, which makes it makes what we're presenting and learning and giving information on it makes it easier to understand, because it's like two sisters just sitting and talking, and I love that about the show.
Yeah,
talking about
and
stuff.
we really doing what we do, but it's just being recorded.
Yes.
Because it's no putting on of air. That's why a lot of people that I run into that say, oh, I watch you guys are always so like whatever fun. It looks like y'all get along, or we've known each other long. And so we always just been talking about different things, not, not just shopping or not just men or not just kids or marriage or something, but we've always talked politics and religion and just these conversations and getting heated. And then we got a middle friend that be like this.
Talk, debate, or argue? One of the three.
All three. To the point we be on vacation and we'll be hoarse.
Oh my God. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. we sicken ourselves, guys. So
yes, we do.
One of the other things I noted was that we talked about we wanted to learn, explore, have discussions, have Q&As, and have guests. And I feel like we've done all 5 of those things. We learned from some of our guests. We explored different topics. We had discussions. We did Q&As, and we had a lot of wonderful guests. So I think we achieved a lot on that. What do you think about the notable improvements? I noticed that both of our lighting has gotten better. My internet connection, remember, I used to always fade out. I feel like I'm like slurring. I just
oh no, I will point it out to you because you know how we do.
Oh my God. But
no, you're fine.
Like my internet connection has gotten much better, because if you notice in the first few videos, I would like be gone and Cindy would still be talking. Like that's gotten better. Our lighting and sound has gotten better. So I think we've gotten a lot of improvements and notable things, like from when I looked at the first video, the lighting and the sound on both of our ends was kind of like, And then now I look at our videos, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I think we've improved on time.
Yes.
Our time management, we're pretty strict on time now, where before we would just be talking for 40 minutes, 50 minutes about the Bill of Rights. I mean, come on, dude, who cares? So we got good on time. I think we got good on planning ahead.
Yeah.
I think we got good on taping, like knowing what we're gonna tape, and okay, this may, like on structure, I guess I want to say, like things flow. If you don't notice, things for us guys, we don't just haphazardly put up things. We try to put up things related to a different month. This is this month, that's for this month, we try to make it make sense for what's happening around us.
Yes.
So I think that we got, but it's not just any old thing. When we first started, we were like, we're gonna talk about the Bill of Rights, the Supreme Court, and this and that. And then it was like, wait a minute, this is this awareness month or that awareness month. So we started kind of doing that, I think.
We evolved a lot. And one of the things I said I was going to mention was the fact that Cindy's tone has gotten a little quieter. Like, remember when the first video, she used to be like, but I was just like,
but listen, guys, look how shady she is. And then she never really told me. I said it. And then she said it.
I told her,
I'm yelling.
Let me just say, guys, roll the tapes. How many times I went like this to Cindy and said, Cindy, you're loud, like Cindy, like, oh my gosh. Even after the first guest that we had, and I said, you were really screaming. She thought you came in her house. She was like, what?
I can't. Remember that time we were working together, and I don't know who was I talking to, you or Therese, but I can't. It was like we were supposed to be whispering, and it was like the what, the who, the what. I said, keep on saying it, and the person's gonna come around the corner and go, "Did you call me?"
Yeah, because I always have a hearing problem. I don't know why.
They'd be like, "What?"
I'd be like, "What did you say? Say it again."
And I'm like, I'm trying to whisper.
Who said it? Who? Sharon? You said Sharon? Cheryl or Sharon? Which one? Like, okay, now we're just having a conversation. We're not even whispering anymore. But, so, I mean, like I said, we have had so much fun and notable improvements and experiences. Like I said, from my internet and lighting issues to Cindy's sound, and we've improved a lot, and we've taken a lot of you guys' feedback.
Yes.
And just worked with that and just kept trying to build and improve on it. One of the things that I did want to, we did want to talk about was the census, because that was our first official episode after our intro episode.
Your
yeah.
speech has gotten better too. I mean, this is not one of those times, but in general, your speech has gotten better. I don't hear you jamming up words like you do some.
Man, I'm jamming everything up today.
They'd be like, shoo, shoo, shoo.
And I'm slobbing on myself. So good. Just like
yelling and you slobbing.
This is ridiculous. But the census. So we talked about the census in our first episode. And like Cindy said, we were kind of behind the 8 ball with that one because we presented it after the census had closed. Now we try to be ahead of the curve and ahead of, the topics and things that are happening. So with our census episode, we presented it after the census had closed. And we noticed recently that there was a lot of articles written about the fact that the Black community were undercounted in this census. And when you're undercounted with the census, which they don't give you that information, that means your roads, you don't get funding for roads. When you see those cracks in the streets that don't get fixed, you're not being counted as being a part of that community. So they don't give as much funding to that area. So if it's something that needs to be fixed, it's not going to be having the funding to get fixed. So that was one of the sad parts about the results of the census that I saw.
You become underappreciated. If you're not existing, then why am I pandering to your group? So you're gonna, I predict, I have nobody told me anything, but I believe because of the data of the census, they're gonna start and continue to pander to the Hispanic community.
Yes.
Because they're growing so far and so fast that is becoming very apparent. You cannot ignore them. Yes. So you saw what happened with the presidency with Biden. All you kept seeing was them going out to the Hispanic community. Obama went, Kamala Harris went, Biden was going. So you just kept seeing the Hispanic community, Hispanic community, Hispanic community. No hate, y'all are growing, but for some reason we are not recorded as growing. We are almost either stagnant, we're plateaued, or even decreasing in population. So for the last 3 censuses, 2000, 2010, and now 2020, they're showing the Black population is like just 12%, 12%, 12%. And like you said, that's going to affect the roads, but I just believe it's also going to affect how we're treated as a political force to be reckoned with. We're not going to be considered a force to be reckoned with because you're not here. Yeah. And I was wondering about those numbers, Tiff. I don't know if it's because we tend to have a high immigrant population of like West Indians, and we tend to have that illegal immigrants here, and no, in New York City it is. Or is it that we didn't take the census, or is it that we designated ourselves as something else? So because there's a other category.
No, I think I think we didn't take the census. I think that was part of it. I think it's also the fact that we weren't aware of a lot of the reasons why the census, when the government comes knocking on your door, sending you forms to fill out, we're kind of like, we have an aversion to giving information. So, you may have 6 people in your house and you put 2, but those 6 people count toward what you get as a community and your representation for any type of laws that are taking place, any type of, the local leaders. And one thing the pandemic highlighted was your local leaders. So when we see the president on the screen, you can notice how much the president really affected you during the pandemic. It was the governor and the mayors,
the decisions, the decisions
made those decisions. So that's a very key point. So you want to always be counted for next year. For the next census, I would say we have to get the word out, volunteer, do something to get the word out so that everybody's counted, so we can have a good representation of the American population overall.
It's so funny that we're one of the people that's been here the longest, and yet our voice is probably the least heard in a lot of regard. And a lot of it is our fault because we're paying attention to, we can tell you pop culture, we can tell you fashion, we can tell you the players on a game, and we can tell you maybe whatever other trends and stuff. But when it comes to the real important things, which you and I have talked about, just about how viral a video will go on a dog, a dog playing the keyboard, and it'll be a viral video and everybody's sharing it. And then you and I are talking about the census and it's like 40 views. 39 of them could be us watching the video 3 times each or whatever, you know? So it's just interesting. I watch people that do car chats and they're talking about absolutamente nada. And they getting like 2,000 views. And then we're doing, like, I think some of the shows that we've done, we'll talk about it in our review episode of where we review all the episodes, the next one. But some of the topics that we discussed, so rich and so deep, and people are just not engaged in it. And it's just very hard. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I was gonna say, I think part of it is the heaviness. People, there's so much going on right now with the pandemic, with racial injustice, with just life in general. There's so much going
economics
on. Right. I think people want to escape from reality and just deal with silly stuff and things that don't make sense. Because I know I find myself at night, I turn off the news. I barely watch the news anymore, and I'm a polychick, so it just becomes overwhelming. I put on cartoons at night just to go to sleep because I'm like, I want to escape from reality. So I think that's part of it. I think people want to escape from the truth of the matter, but you can't escape. When you try to escape, you can't escape forever, because
you can't detach.
Reality will eventually set in. It will eventually. I mean, when those roads are not getting fixed, we wonder why certain neighborhoods are run down. But if you're not being counted and not being represented, like Cindy was saying, they don't care, because your voice is not heard. They're like, you're not going to vote, you're not going to count, you're not going to, who cares? I can take this money, put it in my pocket, or put it elsewhere. You're not going to say anything anyway. So it's just, it's sad.
I understand. I totally get it, because you and I always have to encourage each other to detach, because we can really get involved to the point of just like stress, of sleeplessness. And that's why I told you yesterday when I said, that'll learn you from watching the news, when you gave me the bad news about Colin Powell. And I was like, I didn't even see it, because I didn't even turn on anything. But I wanted to say, there's a difference between defragging, watching foolishness, Real Housewives, or whatever you want to watch, and just totally being divested, just taking your interest out of something. That's different. You still are aware politically. So it's okay for you to say, I'm not doing that this weekend. I'm taking off. We've done it. We've taped 2 or 3 episodes and be like, I ain't getting back to politics for about 3 weeks. I just don't know how some people do it every day, because it can be very stressful. What I wanted to talk about, well, I know we said we wanted to keep these short. I know we probably, we have trouble with shortness, but what I was thinking about with the census was, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Georgia, since Georgia was really one of the deciding factors in who became president. So it's going to be real interesting to see how they gerrymander. If you guys go back and watch the census video, just to talk about how they revamp the maps and what they do to us to really punish us basically for voting. Now you see all the voting rights stuff happening. And it's because of what they see happening in the census. And I wanted to also say, sadly, we lost a lot of House seats, a lot of states. So let me see who lost seats. I wrote it down: New York, California, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, West Virginia lost seats in the House.
Wow.
Because of either the population is stagnant, shrunk, and they were pointing out that it's mostly Democratic cities. Democrat cities. Because people are fleeing cities to go elsewhere. But I also think it was a concerted effort by the former president to cut the census off at a certain point. Because it was people were like asking, people were asking for it to be extended because of the pandemic, and he was like, nah. So the things that are important.
People weren't knocking on doors at that time either. And if they were knocking on doors, they weren't being let into houses. So, I mean, I remember when I was on St. Mark's Avenue in Brooklyn, we had someone that came in and actually did the census. She came
wanted to know.
House, sat down and, did the census. And like you said, it's almost like a secret as to how and why this matters. They don't put out a lot of campaigns, but I'm going to tell you one thing. I will, for the next census, be volunteering and going in and trying to get the word out about the census for the next one, for sure.
It should almost be a year in advance. We should start a year in advance of doing it, because you can't just go the week of, 2 weeks before, and all of that. It's just got to be in advance. What I wanted to say, some of the results of the census was that the white population is shrinking. So they were trying to say, they wondered if that was connected to the increased racism that you see, because they feel like they're a shrinking voice now, because they're like, for the first time, under 60% representation now. We already talked about Blacks, we already talked about Hispanics, are nearly 20% now. Asians are even increasing. Yeah. So they were talking about the white population possibly feeling like now they're going to be the minority, you know, and it's going to be a real shift. We're going to see Hispanic population is growing so fast that they could easily be 50% by the next census.
Yeah, I mean, their population is definitely growing. And I mean, America is becoming more brown. Let's just say that we're becoming more diverse and more brown. So, I mean, anytime there's change happening, it's always some growing pain. So I think I would call that part of the growing pains, part of the, you know, sorry, part of the, you know, what happens when things are changing. So, I mean, you just gotta get with it, enjoy it, and ride the wave. You gotta roll with the tides, man.
You gotta roll with the punches, as they say, or get out of the ring. It is what it is. It is. In Espanol, es lo que es. Oh, but gained seats. Texas, Florida, North Carolina, Colorado, Oregon, and Montana, I believe, gained seats. Okay. And if you think the House seats are not important, look at what's happening with the stimulus package and who's voting on what. Look at what's happening with the Policing Act, the Crown Act, Marijuana Act, all these things that take forever to become a law. Yep. You look at the House and the House representatives, and that's who holds up the bill, and takes forever to get to the Senate. And when it gets to the Senate, it's a whole nother set of issues, as well as just what could happen with what we saw with the presidency. Yeah. The House, you know, they were the ones that could be responsible for who's going to tick the vote off of who's going to say he is the president. Yep. Who's going to swear him in. Those things are important.
They're like very important. It's so important. And like I said, people don't realize it. And that's why we decided to do a show like this, because we wanted to get the word out to the masses. And even if we put a bug in the air of one or two people that tells one or two other people, at least it's getting the word out of, you know, educating and informing. So
at least you know something more than the latest Cardi B song. At least you know something more than that, you know. Hey, I don't know what the song is, but hey, I hear
so many.
I don't even know. There's a big kerfuffle now with Adele or whoever's song that's coming on. There's a new song, I guess, coming out, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, can't wait."
Yeah, Adele just came because she hasn't had a hit, or not a hit. She hasn't had a song in like 6 years because something had went wrong with her vocal. I keep up with pop culture too. I mean, I try to stay very well rounded, but it's like I said, the one that drains me is definitely the politics. I find myself, and that's why with my teeth getting removed, that's why I kind of wasn't watching the news, because I grind my teeth when I'm thinking or looking at it. And I just happened to wake up with Colin Powell yesterday, and I turned on the TV, and I was like, wow, that's what I wake up to. So I turned it off again. I was like, man, it's crazy. But this was an awesome 1 year. I mean, I can't express how happy I am to have achieved it and have done the show with you. I mean, I think we're very yin and yang in a lot of ways. We're very similar in a lot of ways too.
Very similar.
It works. It really works. So guys, look forward to telling us about your favorite episode. Look forward to seeing all the people that, you know, the people that we have on in the future, the new improvements. We're going to have some good shows for you coming in year 2. So just stay tuned. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and if you're watching this video, like, subscribe, notification. If you dislike, Cindy always likes to dislike. She wants to hear about some dislikes so she can go back and forth.
I'm so negative.
She's like, look, dislike and tell me why. But just always, as always, let us know your comments. Email us at 2polychicks@gmail.com with any suggestions or comments. Okay? Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.